Yeah, I'm just incredulous that we've got a dump truck playlist. But yeah, it's happened. Oh, fuck it. We've got an Adam the Ants playlist, so why not?
Yeah,
Um,
that's a fair point.
hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of That's Audiophiles. My name's John. His name is Andy. Um, is your secret safe tonight? And are we out of sight? Or will our world come tumbling down? On that later. But first, because it's Friday, oh, yes, it is. It's special Friday. All Fridays are special. We listen to a track which has been carefully selected by one and suggested by one of our wonderful viewers. In this case, said viewer is Roger Bird, and they. I never thought I was saying this, but when we started the channel, that. Um, but yeah, on an episode, a dump truck episode of another viewer recommendation, Winter, they have suggested another dump truck track, Island. And so I'm going to end up creating a dump truck playlist of 3 songs. This is incredible. Um, so yes, the dump truck train journey continues. The
Yeah,
locomotion.
it
Yeah.
does.
So it's another one for you, Andy.
Okay, well, I've enjoyed for the most part, pretty blanketly the sounds and outputs of Dump Truck. So I will gladly continue on my journey. I'm just thinking of a train of dump trucks, like literally in a row now. After you
Yeah.
went on about that, but you're right. Here we are, playlist worthy, mostly at the hands of viewer requests. So that's
So
always
yeah, it's
fun.
been Back Where I Belong was the one I suggested to you from them.
Yeah.
Then we've done Winter, and now we're doing Island.
Yeah. So 2 of 3 ain't bad. So thank you guys for contributing to the channel, of course. And it's always nice, like we put up a video and then we get recommendations for other videos. And sometimes you're like, we've talked about this jokingly before, like, is the video representative of the sound or genre I'm going to get with a recommendation? Uh, you don't have to worry about any when it's the band who you're listening to who's also being recommended. So I will go off with preparing myself to listen to the sounds of Dump Truck, and I'll give this song a go and come back and we could chop it up. Sort of a very pensive, thoughtful start to this. Even the guitar conjures this sense of like thoughtfulness or maybe introspection, which we see a lot, or I should say we've heard a lot on this channel before. So that sounds like the vibe I'm a getting about 18 seconds into this thing.
Can't you see? Just go away. A million miles between us. Can't get out of our own way. Try to watch from a distance. Still I get sucked in all the way. Sit around and laugh at all the people who act that way.
Not crazy about the vocal delivery on this one for some reason. I don't know. There's this sort of like it's just like a little off a little bit, and the lyrics like I'm having a hard time like mapping together like a cohesive narrative Maybe that's the intention, though. You know what I mean? This is only one listen. I don't know anything about this song, so could be completely on me. But it doesn't sound like there's like a theme to these lyrics at this juncture. I like this. Let's pick it up. Let's make it I will say the guitar tones in the song are really pretty. They really are. What sounds like we're getting a second and tonally a different lead. I want to take that back. The drums aren't doing anything crazy, but they're doing their job so well is what it is. And that lead like over top of it is really pretty. Yeah. You know what? I warmed to this as it progressed. Or maybe I found what I really liked about this song and put my focus on it. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the voice here. And I found, at least for the time being, maybe John can clear this up for me, so there's still hope. I just felt like the lyrics were like kind of head-scratchingly obtuse. And I couldn't really string together a narrative. But that's that. What I loved was the guitar tones in this. Now I liked the two leads that sort of went back with that like handing over the baton situation. I really liked the first one. I think a little bit more. There was this, finger jiggling on the fretboard that created this vibrato on some of those notes where they're high and warbly, and I just loved that effect, and I loved the drumming during both portions. The first one more of this higher motif, and the second one a little lower. But to juxtapose them together, one into the other, I thought was a great idea, and it sounded lovely. It was this excellent moment in contrast. I didn't mind the refrain and his vocals therein weren't. I actually enjoyed that "Get Off My Island," which I didn't understand at first. I thought he was saying "Get off my ladder." Then I thought he was saying "Get off my lighter," which get off my lighter. Then it hit me as saying "Get off my island," which just sounds like he kind of like wants to be left alone. That's the one theme I'm able to extrapolate from that. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I really did the bass wasn't doing anything fabulous, but it sounded great, and the drum work was really nice, even though it wasn't breaking any molds or anything like that. It was just, I loved that when the energy kicked up, the drums were right on top of that and kind of helped set the table for that mood shift a little bit from that pensive, sad sort of sounding verse portion to the more upbeat, driven portion of the song where he would sing, "Get off my island," and over which the lead guitars would do their sort of brush stroke work. So yeah, overall, I enjoyed giving this thing a spin. Couple hair split here and there, but overall, I thought this is a pretty fun tune to listen to with plenty of redeeming qualities, specifically the tones of those two guitars and how they worked in tandem. So let's get back to John and chop this one up.
Apple Dev, he's back. So you've had listened to Island by Dumptruck, channel favorites. What did you think?
There were aspects of this song that I really, really loved, and there were aspects of this song that I didn't care for so much. But I will say that the love that I had for the things that I really enjoyed were far outweighed the things that I didn't like, or how much they rubbed me the wrong way or whatever. But I'll just get right out and say it. I did not like the vocal performance on this track, specifically in the verses. I thought it was a little off, and I thought it was a kind of like a like slacker Bob Dylan sounding at times. It just didn't it didn't really tickle my fancy, especially during the verses. When he's just repeating the refrain, it actually sounded pretty good, especially by the time the second one came around. I was like, okay, I've adjusted to this. Now I know, correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm trying to go back in my mind here and pull this out, and hopefully I'm right. Aren't there two potential singers in this band, or two dudes that kind of, so I don't know which one of these it is. But I don't remember having this strong of an opinion or aversion to the vocals in the previous tracks that we've done by them. And again, I know I'm coming out saying what I don't like, but that's just to get it out of the way. It's not something that's like, making me not want to listen to this track ever again. What I did love, which I'll get into in detail, but we've had this on a lot of other songs in the past too, the way two guitars can sound together. And I really loved the tones in the guitar on this a lot. I thought they sounded fabulous, and I think it was really underscored during that part where there's seemingly this baton switch between two different sounding leads by the guitars, 3/4 of the way through the track or whatever, maybe even 4/5 of the way through the track. I really loved that part a lot. I thought that was such a great microcosm of the two different sounds coming from the guitar throughout this track, and I really, really admired that part. The song begins with some pensive and very methodical guitar work, and this lasts about 10 seconds before the full band joins in. And it is about a couple seconds before the singer then joins this rather poignant sounding tune the band is constructed here in the early goings. The lyrics, and maybe this is also part of it, but this I'm willing to like put on me and like let you inform me of but I felt that the lyrics are very nondescript as they seem to outline this distance between the narrator and this other individual. I don't even know what this other, if it's just like, oh, that's my old friend or my ex, or if it's he's talking to himself from the past, or anything like that. There can be a million different like dynamic possibilities in, who he's addressing here, which again is probably what leads me to have a hard time wrapping my head around exactly what the specific issue is at hand or the topic, even other than this distance that's been created between he and whomever this other person is. There's this lovely bright bit of guitar work that plays after the singer delivers the line, "The people who act that way." And while it's not some wildly intricate bit of guitar mastery on display, it does have this slightly shimmering quality to it as it shines over top of the most energetic portion of this song to this point. And again, the drummer isn't doing anything special in that it's something that I haven't heard before. But the drummer's doing it really well. Like, man, the whole change in energy is completely predicated off him and that snare. And it's terrific. I think it just sounds great, and it's not jarring or hit you over the head. It actually transitions from that more languid, pensive sound to this more energy forward sound pretty effortlessly and without being like, ooh. So I really appreciated that. The song then falls back into this like lulling motif of the verse, and the singer picks back up where he left off, now singing of something being their will and too many empty spaces that can't seem to be filled. Um, you know. And then he goes on about it being hard these days to understand your ideas, and then contradicts that line by singing, "Somehow it all makes sense," only to then undercut that notion by following it up with, "I just can't seem to see it clear." It's like, well, shit or get off the pot. Is it easy to understand or isn't it? What the hell are you saying here? So this is another where I got hemmed in with my frustrations. I know you're going, you fucking idiot. Why? Just listen to the fucking guitar if that's what you like. So needless to say, I'm left just a bit confused as to what our narrator is saying in the wake of this stanza. These lyrics seem almost comically intent on leaving the listener scratching their head, but maybe I'm overlooking or missing something here, which is entirely possible. Regardless, I haven't a clue what he's on about. He does punctuate this bit by repeating the line, "Get off my island." And I swear to God, at first, thank God for the name of the track, because at first I thought he said, "Get off my ladder." Then I thought he said, "Get off my lighter." And then finally I picked up on island, and I'm like, of course it's island. That's the fucking track, you genius. So that how, and the harmonies in this part were really great as well. We then get this higher register guitar lead that ascends the fretboard with a slight bit of like warbling vibrato. When you like shake your finger a little bit on the fretboard, it creates that kind of vibrato sound in the guitar note. Loved that so much. It adds a little bit more emotional heft to the motif. And then as the song settles back into the portion with the drums reigning in the energy, the lead baton is seemingly passed to another guitar part, this one lower and more mellow register, after settling back into that, or before settling back into that "Get off my island" refrain. This repeats several times before the song gives way to another brief guitar lead that kind of carries us until the song's end. And yeah, I thought this was decent enough sounding song with some really pretty tones to the guitars, and their work throughout, with some nice dynamics, especially from the drums and how they shifted from the mellow to the more forward portion and then back again. And there was some nice bass work flowing beneath the guitars in this track. I will say, though, that I found the lyrical content to be head-scratchingly obtuse, which I think is the phrase I used when I was trying to make sense of it in real time. But hey, perhaps that was their goal. And nonetheless, it kind of alienated me from making a connection with that aspect of the song. But that doesn't change the fact that the music was pleasant enough for me to enjoy this listen and, give this thing another go for sure, especially, hopefully, after our conversation, and maybe you could shed light on the lyrical content or the sort of narrative at hand. But yeah, please tell me more, John.
Okay, so as mentioned, we have done 2 other episodes. Back Where I Belong, Winter. We talked more about the band. So I will create a playlist, put the link in below. You go off and check those out. I will pick the story up just to refresh you from this is from the 3rd album. And I'll pick the story. I thought I had this on vinyl, but I don't, so I've actually just ordered it. But I picked the story up from their 2nd album, Positively. So after the critical success of this album, the band quickly set out on this like seemingly endless tour to support it. And everything seemed to be going quite well. They were signed to a record label called Big Time. College radio really embraced the band, and the record in stores were in stores, and the interest grew. However, time on the road, as does happen quite often, takes its toll on the band. Relationships became strained, and when the tour ended, first the bassist, Spike Priggen, and then co-founder Kirk Swan announced they're leaving the band. So that's the situation. There's also the bullshit going on as well. So we've got a nice little bit from Furious.com that kind of narrates it quite nicely. Dumptruck, it seemed, was done. Around Christmas of '86, Kirk and bassist Spike Priggen split the band and were like, okay, Dumptruck is over. Tiven explains. And I said, fuck you, it is. There was money to make another record. The label wanted it to be a Dumptruck record. So Hugh Jones, brackets, producer, he produced some stellar records that we have discussed on this channel. Echo and the Bunnymen, fucking Adam and the Ants, that record. The sound that you know I love. Simple Minds, The Undertones, The Damned. That's Damn song that Hugh Jones produced that. So he was set to produce, and Tiven says, I figured, hey, that sounds good to me. So Tiven picked up the pieces band, replaced Swan with another guitarist, Kevin Salem, who's an awesome guitarist, found a bass player because they're ten a penny, and then headed over to Wales to record. So he left the motherland and came over to the land of your fathers, Wales, to record with Hugh Jones, and the result was their 3rd album, For the Country. It's the first Dumptruck recording that profits from the focus of a singular voice, as Tiven wrote every song on the album. And it is a collection of introspective, disappointed, and fed up songs. Songs of aloneness, songs of dismay. A world where people hurt and hurt each other. In the end, Tiven wants none of it. His island is a place that he and he alone wants to be. So that's what they say about that. This track that you listen to is the opening track on the album, which came out, let's say, in 1987. So personnel: Seth Tiven, guitar vocals; Kevin Salem, guitar vocals; Tom Shadd, bass; BJ Cole, pedal steel guitar; Sean Devlin, session drums. He did things. Pop Matters said, despite or because of that turmoil, the band turned out a classic. Remaining songwriter Seth Tiven found a way to fuse the band's previous television-inspired guitar fury and prototypical college rock sound with more organic elements lifted from folk and country. The result was a fresh-sounded amalgamation that served as an unacknowledged blueprint for the alt country movement that sprung up 5 years later, Wilco, etc., etc. There are many reasons to recommend the disc. Start with Tiven's bittersweet lyrics and the guitar interplay between Tiven and newcomer Kevin Salem. Then there are the tight yet nimble rhythm section that leads from the lap steel lilt of Going Nowhere to the insistent fury of Island. There isn't a weak song of the bunch, which makes what happened next all the more disappointing. And Trouser Press wrote, Dumptruck sounds stronger than ever. Tiven, now the sole writer, sings his dejected lyrics with a surprisingly determined edge, as a wall of strummed guitars and loudly echoing backbeat surges behind him. He's certainly not a happy fellow. The irony of carefree, disgust of friends, anxiety and resignation of the delicately haunting Delway are the mere tip of his melancholy iceberg. Involving and unsettling. Lovely review there. You always want to hear that about your music. All Music said there are harbingers of doom in Tibbins' downcast lyrics, but these are his strongest and most well-crafted songs yet. Island, the fatally Memphis-flavoured Hung on a Line, and the country rock yangle of Wire all pack a serious wallop, and the band manages to make good use of Welsh producer Hugh Jones' state-of-the-art studio without coming across as slick or over-processed.
Hmm.
The occasional touches of Hammond organ and pedal steel guitar give Dumptruck sound just the right added dimension on songs like Wire, Island, and the fine title track. As is the case with most bands that have followed Dumptruck's trajectory, the last album is the best place to start, and then work backwards to D's Dumptruck. Highly recommended. So yeah, there was some arguments in some of the reviews saying that somebody benefited from having a singular vision, just the one guy writing. And others argue against it. It's difficult because I think, the benchmarks, it's weird. The benchmarks from the greatest ever songs was a songwriting duo called Lennon and McCartney,
Hmm.
but they stopped writing together a third of the way into their career, and they wrote separately, then came back and tried to one up each other, and that spurred on, Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane and Isla Morris, etc. So
Yeah.
it's weird. They weren't really writing together, but they were writing almost for each other, which I think made the difference there, and they made each other better.
Yes.
You just have to look at their solo careers once the Beatles went, and the person who really shined was George Harrison.
This is true.
They both did decent stuff, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Nothing to match stuff from, Pepper's White Album, Abbey Road.
Yeah.
Nowhere near. Anyway, so yeah, I'm surprised actually. I looking into my crystal ball, if I had one, which I don't, I wouldn't have said that the vocals would have given you jip, but it's all personal taste, so fair enough.
It is.
Um,
I'll say this. Still not wild about the vocals in the verse of this song, but I will say that this idea that they would be this harbinger of what's to come with like alternative country and folk being, sprinkled into this already existing sound that they helped pioneer and develop, makes sense. I mean, one of the first people that I correlated or sort of like connected with this sound was a folk master in Bob Dylan, and hearing some of the inflection in this guy's voice during the verses sort of reminded me of a college rock version of a genre that he is now saying he cross-pollinated with this already existing sound. So that makes sense to me, actually. Doesn't make me like it aesthetically, but it does make me appreciate it that much more. And honestly, it really boils down to the verse, because you'd be hard pressed not to understand in the chorus that he's saying he wants to be alone. Get off my island and island onto yourself. You just want to be left alone and live in your own. I get the meaning of some of the lines in the verse just didn't make sense to me, and the delivery didn't hit for me. But so much more of the song was enjoyable. So that's the only place where I really kind of drew the line for me and my taste, anyway.
yeah. I mean, spoken word aside, it's usually me that complains about the vocals, so
Yeah, yeah, I know. And to be fair, I'm also the one that doesn't have an issue with guys like screaming, which is also like, how can you like that but draw an issue with this? So it's all, it's all in what we like. I can't
Sometimes
explain
it
what
just
sounds good
ticks
to
the
me.
box, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what I was going to say. Oh yes, you said earlier on about it being sort of like a slacker Bob Dylan. I'm thinking, I can't imagine slacker. Is that you just remove all the consonants? Is it? And it's just vowel noises.
I meant slacker rock. We all know that Bob Dylan was a bit of a slacker anyway when it came to enunciation. You're absolutely right. But I just meant this sort of subgenre of classic, like college or slacker rock music.
I'm just
Yeah,
teasing.
it's fair point
Lyrics.
though.
So, can't you see? Just go away. A million miles between us. Can't get out of our way. Try to watch from a distance. Still, I get sucked in all the way. Stood around and laugh at all the people who act that way. But against your own will, too many empty spaces I can't seem to fill. It gets so hard these days just to understand your ideas. Somehow they must make sense. I just can't seem to see it clear. Get off my island. Get off my island. Get off my island. Get off my island times 3. Guitar and organ break. Lovely. And back. Get off my island 3 times. 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 Very briefly, a little bit more guitar and then fade out. So there you go. I enjoyed this. I don't really listen to this album. Most people actually cite this album as being their best album, in terms of Dumptruck fans. I'm not sure I agree, but I'm not like hugely arguing against it either. But I probably prefer Positively, to be fair. It's just my take on it. But this is a decent song, which I really enjoyed listening to again, definitely.
Well, I'm sure that I know you said this isn't for you, but the overall, the prevailing idea is that this is, among most people, is that this is their best album. I'm sure that that's a bit of affirmation for your man who is like, oh, fuck you. You want to leave? Deuces. I'll do this for my own POV and create an album that will resonate over time. So, yeah, I mean, that's a feather in his cap, I'm sure.
Yeah, big time, big time. He kept the faith.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, all kudos to him for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. So this is a really good shout, Roger Bird. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Roger. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I'm just incredulous that we've got a Dumptruck playlist, but yeah, it's happened. Oh, okay, we've got another the Ants playlist, so why not?
That's a fair point.
So I'll wrap things up. Thanks for listening to this, Andy. Thanks, Roger Bear, for recommending it. And folks out there, please tell us what you think. Please do drop some comments and hit that like button. You want to. Yeah, we'd love to hear what you think of this and all other Dumptruck stuff. Yeah, really interested to hear from you. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. Tick that box, ring that bell, send us a litre of your own blood, whatever.
Yeah.
We really appreciate everybody who does support the channel. And also, if you're thinking, come, he's got his song on his channel. Please don't talk like that. All you got to do is drop a comment in any one of our episodes. We will add it to the list. Then we will go through the list and we will at some point complete the list. And then the world will end. So yeah, please just drop a line and we'll add it and we'll get to it in our own good sweet time. Thank you very much.
That's
We'll be
right.
really back. That being said, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see all of you on the next episode of the Audiophiles.
See you later, guys.